Hey there, Lacey here with the Sweet Pea Chef, and you guys loved my chicken marinades videos so much I wanted to come back and share more marinade love. Today we're gonna be making 7 of the best steak marinades to go with any meal you want. It's gonna be so tasty and so easy and gonna kick up your steak game. So let's get started. So for all these steak marinade recipes that I'm sharing with you today, I'm gonna be using a skirt steak. It's a perfect steak for marinades because it needs to be tenderized, which a marinade does for you as it's sitting in the fridge getting all marinated. Other great cuts of beef for marinades are gonna be round steaks, shoulders, chuck, or flank steaks. All right, let's start things off with a red wine steak marinade. So in a gallon-sized Ziploc bag, we're gonna add in our skirt steak, followed by red wine, olive oil, lemon juice, sea salt, ground black pepper, minced garlic, and dried rosemary. Then we're gonna zip up the bag so it's fully sealed, and then we're gonna press the marinade all around the steak so that it's fully coated. Then place in the fridge and allow it to marinate. So if you already have a tender cut of steak like a New York strip steak or a filet mignon or a ribeye, you don't need to marinate it a long time. Instead, just put it in the fridge for about 15 minutes. For cuts that need more time to tenderize, like I mentioned before, you're gonna wanna have them in the fridge for about 6 hours all the way up to overnight. That's gonna allow the marinade to really break down those tough fibers. If you left it in there longer, it would start to break down too much and become a little bit more mushy than you want. So 6 to 24 hours is the optimal amount of time for marinade. Next, we're gonna be making an Italian steak marinade. So in a large Ziploc bag, we're going to add in our skirt steak, followed by white wine vinegar, Dijon mustard, olive oil, onion powder, minced garlic, dried thyme, dried basil, dried oregano, sea salt, and ground black pepper. Then we're gonna seal up the bag and we're gonna press around the marinade to make sure it gets fully coated onto our steak, then transfer it to the fridge to marinate. If you want, you can also just transfer these marinated steaks in our freezer safe bags into the freezer. That's gonna be perfect as well because when they're defrosting, they're going to be marinating at the same time so that when it's time to cook them, they'll be perfect. Now for our fajita steak marinade, we're gonna add our skirt steak to a large 1 gallon size freezer safe bag, followed by lime juice, pineapple juice, low sodium soy sauce, minced garlic, ground cumin, paprika, crushed red pepper flakes, sea salt, ground black pepper, chopped cilantro, and olive oil. Then seal our bag up tightly and then make sure to press that marinade around on all sides of our skirt steak. Then we're gonna place it into the fridge to marinate. For steak marinades, a good rule to follow is to have about a half of a cup of the marinade for about 2 pounds of our steak. Now we're gonna be making a garlic herb steak marinade. So we're gonna add our skirt steak into our Ziploc bag, followed by olive oil, minced garlic, dried rosemary, dried oregano, dried thyme, dried basil, sea salt, and ground black pepper. Then we're gonna press all the air out of the bag, seal up the Ziploc bag, and then move all that marinade around our steak so it gets fully coated. Then pop it in the fridge to marinate. Once you're ready to cook your steak, make sure to discard the unused marinade because it has raw meat juices in there and it can't be used again. Now we're gonna make our ginger soy steak marinade. So we're gonna add our skirt steak to our large Ziploc bag, followed by low sodium soy sauce, rice wine vinegar, olive oil, raw honey, minced garlic, and fresh ginger. Then, just like with the others, we're gonna press all the air out of the bag and then we're gonna seal it on up, move that steak marinade all around so it gets nicely coated, and then we're gonna place it in the fridge to marinate. When you're marinating raw meat, you wanna make sure that you have it separated from everything in your fridge just so you don't get any cross-contamination. I like to put my steak marinades inside that plastic bag, inside a 9x13 casserole dish in my fridge, so in case anything were to drip out, the casserole dish will catch it. Now for a lemon pepper steak marinade, we're going to place our skirt steak inside our Ziploc bag, followed by lemon zest, freshly squeezed lemon juice, minced garlic, crushed black peppercorns, sea salt, and olive oil. Press the air out of the bag, seal the zipper, and then press all that marinade around our steak so that it's tasty and coated, and then we're gonna place it into the fridge to marinate. Make sure that when you're marinating, it's always in the fridge, because if you marinate it out on the counter, it would get to a temperature that would be then unsafe to eat. So always keep it in the fridge. If you want to be a little bit more environmentally friendly, you can use reusable storage containers instead of our plastic bags to marinate. Up to you. Now we're gonna be making a Chipotle steak marinade. So in our Ziploc bag, we're going to add our skirt steak, followed by adobo sauce, ground cumin, onion powder, garlic powder, sea salt, ground black pepper, lime juice, and olive oil. Then we're gonna press all the air out of the bag and then seal it on tight and then place it into the fridge to marinate. When your steak is done marinating and it's time to cook, remove it from the marinade and then pat it dry. Because if it were covered with all of that juice and you put it into the hot oil, it might steam instead of searing, and we definitely want a good sear on this steak. I hope these 7 steak marinades are gonna just up your steak game and you're gonna just be in love with your meals. Make sure to check out my 7 chicken marinades for another great 7 recipes to make chicken not boring. Definitely want to check that out. And make sure to subscribe so you never miss these new weekly recipe videos on how to just make eating healthy easier. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you next time.